Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Today we will be starting our Yeastar certified technician courses. We will have in total 4 courses, including all configurations you will have to do to set up a working basic basic working telecommunication system for enterprise or for SMB based on our S-series PBX. And well, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about some basic configurations and some preparation work you will have to do before you really set up the system. Okay, before I actually get started, I'd like to make sure that all of you guys can hear me fine. So if you do hear me, please give me a reply through the chatting panel to let me know. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for your cooperation. It seems like the audio connection works perfectly fine. So we will start today's webinar. Our S-series PBX, as you probably already know, is based on asterisk 13. And so all the features, all the configurations will obey the rule of asterisk. So if you really know asterisk system, that will help you a lot. But if you don't know, that's okay. We will give you a walkthrough. Firstly, we have all of our configurations can be realized on our Web GUI. So this is our graphic user's interface based on a web browser. So that means you don't have to actually install any software on your special PC, and we don't actually have any kinds of requirement for the PC you use, or Mac, or any other devices, even your tablet or your smartphones. We don't have any requirements on those equipments. Only you, as long as you have an working web browser, any web browsers you have, Chrome, IE, well, Firefox will do. We suggest Chrome from Google, of course, but according to our test, most major web browsers will do. So you just open up a browser, you put in the IP address of this equipment that you are going to set, then you will see this page. You will get into the the login page of this very equipment, of course. First point that is very important, all of our equipment comes with same default IP address, which is, as you see in this document, 192.168.5.150. So this is our default IP address. It doesn't matter what kind of equipment you are using, what model it is, you just put in this IP address. This is our default IP address. Okay. So I don't think it's necessary for me to explain this. To really log into this IP address, you will have to change the IP address of your computer with which you set this PBX to the same IP address segment, according to your according to the configuration in your router. Right? So you put in this default IP address, you will get into the start session, the start session page. You put in, then you will have to put in the username and the password. The username for the administrator of the system is admin, and the password is actually password, as I show you here. In this document as well, no capitals, all little letters. username, admin, and the default password. This way you will be getting into the system. But before you do that, you might want to will choose a language of the system. Well, here are the languages that we support for your Web GUI. Well, you can see actually we support most major languages in the world, and of course, if you find that your local language is not included, you can always contact us to. We can always talk work this through to see if it's possible that we add your languages into this list. So you can choose whichever language it is you have here in the list, and then after you do this, the system will be in the language that you choose. And here, of course, we have a forgot password key. So we will be talking about this a little bit later. Now let's log in. Okay, we have logged in for the very first time, and here, first of everything, the system show us a guidance. The first step is to change our default password. As you already know, that our default password is password, which is a quite simple password and regular one as well. To be honest, it is not safe. It is not safe, and to use such a simple and regular password, we strongly suggest that you change to another password which is more complicated and of quite unique. A unique one. So if you keep using the default password every time you log into this PBX, this window will pop out to suggest that you change the default password. We do this because this is very important for the security of your system. People do fraud calls all the time, and if you use such a simple administrator password, which has the highest authority in the system, which can do all configurations, all changes in the system, it is very risky, very unsafe. We strongly suggest that you change the default password. Okay, then you can click next. Here we have an email address. You can actually assign this email address to the administrator account, which means that in the future, if the system, there are some features that requires the administrator to use and to use their mailbox. For example, sometimes the PBX will send notification by email to the administrator to notify them about something. So about some issues or some situations that is happening within the system. So here you can put in the mailbox that you are using. So in the future, whenever the system try to contact you as the administrator, the system will send a mail to this email box, including the forgot password. If you forgot your password, you click the forgot password, and the system will send a mail to this mailbox to help you find your password back. Okay, and the next one is, which is very important. Well, here you can set a mailbox for the PBX to send out emails. Well, because as I have said, the PBX, or when the PBX contact the administrator or other users through email, well, the PBX itself need a mailbox to send this email, right? This is very easy to understand. So here you set up this email, and here what you see here is my personal email. So if there's anything in the future that you want to know, if you want to contact me, you can actually use this email address, ramon@yeastar.com. So I just took this advantage and took this opportunity to give you my contact. Okay, this is the starting guide. Okay, so the very first thing you will have to do when you set up your PBX system here is to change the IP address. This is actually the very first thing you will have to do because as I have said here, our default IP address is 192.168.5.150. This is our default IP address, and you cannot, you probably wouldn't be able to get your PBX to connect to your local network with this IP address. You will have to change this IP address to the one that falls into the rules you set in your own router, right? So this is exactly what you do here. As you see in the network, we have basic settings, and here you can actually configure your network configurations. All right, let's see. First, here we have host name. We have host name for this equipment. We can just change it to whichever one you want. Just ensure that you only put in letters and numbers. No characters, no other stuff is supported in this host name. This is only the host name for you to recognize your PBX in your local network. Very understandable. And here we have a mode settings. As you know, we have two network ports in our PBX, a LAN port and a WAN port. So here in this mode, you will define how you like to use those two ports. Okay. First of all, you see we have three modes. The first one is single. So with the single mode, the system will use only one port, network port, which will be the default interface by the system is the LAN port. So you can use your LAN port, and the other WAN port will be disabled by default, disabled if you choose single mode. Okay, then we support three ways for you to set up this network interface. First of all is DHCP. So this means that the system will, the PBX will get the IP address informations and other configuration informations, data directly from the DHCP server of your local network, which is very likely to be your router, right? But we don't suggest that you use this mode because actually from time to time an administrator will have to log into your PBX to configure your system and to do things like add extensions and stuff, right? If they use DHCP, that means every time the PBX restart, it will get a dynamic IP address different from the last time. So you, if there are no special occasion, special situation in which you have to use DHCP, we would suggest that you use static IP address, because with this static IP address, the PBX will have a fixed IP address with which you can log into the PBX all the time, and all the other extensions, all the other IP phones will register to this PBX, to this IP address as well, through this IP address as well. So it is very important that you have a static IP address. Okay, we also support PPPoE. That means you can get your internet line, your internet cable directly from your service provider to connect to your PBX and use it by putting the username and password offered by the service provider for your internet cable. Of course, this is optional, and once again, we do not suggest that you use this PPPoE mode, because that will explode your that will make your IPPBX explode directly to the public network. It is not safe. So we would suggest that you use this static IP address. You have your PBX connected behind your router, and so the PBX can visit to the public network through the router. This is a level of protection. Not to mention, you can add firewall in your router, of course. Okay, this is single mode, and then we have dual mode. So in dual mode, you can have two ports used equally here. So in WAN ports, we can have the same configuration, right? We can set At Dhcp mode, we can set static IP address or PPPoE to set up this the WAN port to get on another network. Usually, one network is actually enough, but sometimes, in some occasion, you will have to use two interfaces to get into two separate network environment. So you will have to use both ports. For example, this is only an example. Most of the service provider, when you get business service for companies and enterprises, they will from a service provider they will give you one internet cable, and with this one internet cable you will have your internet service, you will have your SIP based telephony system, telephony service. So everything will be included in this one cable network. Now, this internet cable. So in this case, single mode is enough because you have this cable connected to your router, and you have your PBX also connected to the LAN port of your router, and so this way it will work perfectly fine, right? Because everything is in this one network cable. But sometimes the service provider give you two lines, two cables for different uses. They give you one port, they give you one cable for your internet services, and another one, and a separate one for your telephony service. So this way, you will have your internet one connect to your router, of course, and because you will have to make sure that your PBX can be connected to your local network, because other IP phones will have to be registered to this PBX. You will have to have your PBX, as I have said, you have to have your PBX connected and connected to the router. This is one network environment. And then you will have to have the SIP trunk given by the service provider connected to the other, directly to the PBX, because usually this kind of cable, though is a normal RJ45 internet cable, it cannot pass anything else than audio data packages. So you will have to have this SIP trunk lines, a separated SIP trunk line connected directly to your PBX. This way you will need two network, and you need two ports, one for local network, the other one for your SIP trunk. And then we have bridge mode. So in bridge mode, it is quite simple. In bridge mode, the two ports will work as some kind of like a switch. So the LAN port will be used to connect to the upstream lines, and the WAN port will be used to connect to the downstream equipments. Like for example, if you have a PC connected to the WAN ports and set the mode to the bridge mode, and have your LAN port connect to the router, that means your PC can go through WAN ports to LAN port to visit the router. Okay, I believe this is quite easy for you to understand. And here you have your cellular network. The cellular network actually means that, as you probably know, we are supporting 4G SIM cards, or to be more precisely, we are supporting 4G LTE SIM card to be installed in your PBX as a trunk. But because it is a SIM card and it is 4G SIM card, the SIM card itself comes with mobile data. So you can use this mobile data as a failover backup to your PBX, just in case if your network is done, you will have interface. You will have a possibility. You will have a interface for you to connect with the public network through the 4G mobile data. So in cellular network, you can choose failover. Okay, because I don't have any SIM card installed on this equipment. I cannot change the configuration here, but here you see what we can do with this. Okay, so all you have to do, now I have explained a little about this configuration here. So all you really have to do is to change the IP address of the network interface you use to connect to your local network, which is possibly the LAN port. You can change the IP address, the subnet mask, the gateway information, the PDS server, according to the real configuration in your router, right? Just put everything here, you click Save. If you have done any changes, the system will suggest that, will notice that you will need to reboot, so your configuration will take effect. So you just click Reboot, the system will take 2 or 3 minutes to reboot, and you will have your IP address changed, just like this. Okay. This is the network configuration you will have to do. And another thing you will have to do here is date and time. It's very important to set up date and time for your PBX, because a lot of our very important core features is based on the date and the time. For example, our inbound and outbound routes are all directly related to the date and time, because possibly you will have to set up your PBX, set up your the inbound and outbound routes rules according to the schedule of your clients, right? Of your client's company. So if you have the incorrect date and time, system date and time, that means all your configuration is nonsense, because it will work. It will be run anyway. So you will have to set up your date and time. Here we offer you 2 modes. One is synchronized with Ntp Server. The other one is set up manually. So this, if you are sure that your PBX can visit public internet, then you can use Synchronized with Ntp Server. You put the Ntp Server URL here. We already have one by default, but you can, if you want, you can change one to your preference. That's okay. You just put in the Ntp Server, then the PBX will synchronize its date and time automatically to this Ntp Server through internet. So if you have choose Ntp Server, then all you have to do is to choose your time zone. I have all the time zone listed here. You just choose the one in which locate your country, and then you choose. Then you need to choose to enable or disable daylight saving time. So if you have such a system in your country, you should choose automatic. Otherwise, you choose disabled, then you won't be able to use daylight saving time. Okay, but if your PBX do not have any access to the internet, that is to say, you have physical trunks or one special SIP trunk specially for telephony services directly connected to your PBX, and the local network you have you also have a separated local network only for your telephone system that is not connected to the public network. You will have to set up manually, because the PBX cannot get access to the Ntp Server through internet. Okay, but in setup manually, even though you choose setup manually, that doesn't mean that you have to set up the time and the date manually. In setup manually, by default, the date and time of your PBX will be synchronized automatically to the computer with which you use to set up this PBX. So all you have to do, so if your PBX got Wi-Fi, then if your computer got Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter if it's a PC, it's a Mac, or if it's other equipment. As long as it got Wi-Fi or mobile data, those devices will be automatically synchronized with Ntp Server as well. So basically now all the equipments have such features. So the system will just synchronize with your PC, synchronize the date and time with your PC, and so it only means that it won't get synchronized directly with Ntp Server, but indirectly through your PC, which you use to set up the PBX. Okay. If you need to adjust the date and time, of course, you can do it here. You can choose the numbers that you would like. You can make changes here. Okay. And the next thing we will be talking about, sorry, is prompts, system prompt. Okay. So we have two kinds of prompt in the system. One is system prompt. The other is custom prompts. So the customized prompts are the prompts that should be recorded by your clients or by installers according to the requirements of your clients. So that's not what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about system prompt. So here, as you see in this system, we have a list of the system prompts that we already have. Oh, sorry, I need to explain a little bit about the system prompt. So system prompt is the prompt that is already integrated to the system that will be played under certain circumstances. So these prompt will, for example, if someone called up your system and the extension is unavailable, the system will probably give a prompt to the caller which says, sorry, the extension you want is occupied or something. So these kind of prompts do not require any levels of customization. It can be pre-made and integrated to the system. So we have a packet of all such prompt already embedded in the system and will be applied automatically under certain situation. Okay, so the issue here is the language, right? People speak different languages would want different prompts in their own languages. So the equipments you have by default will include English language, of course, and sometimes it's not enough. Well, you can click download online prompt if your PBX can visit the internet. You will see all the prompt packages that we have in our cloud server, and you can just choose to download whichever one you like. And in some country, because people speak more than one languages, so you may possibly need to apply more than one language packages. That's okay. We do not have any limitation here. You can use multi-language prompt here in this system. So you just choose whichever one you want. And for example, let's take Spanish for example, right? We just download the prompt, and very quickly it will be downloaded to your PBX, and it will be done. And you will see this in this system. So you just choose one as your default prompt, and of course, if you and you can choose special prompt, and you can choose other languages for special extensions, which I will be explaining to you a little bit later. Okay, and then here we have upload system prompts. That is to say, sometimes you made your own system prompt, and that's okay. You don't have to use the ones we made. You can use your own and upload it to the PBX by clicking here, right? When you click upload, you will see one. You will see it in your. You will see it in. You will see this and choose the files that you like. And of course, if your PBX cannot have access to the internet, you can also download it from you can use your computer to download it from our cloud server and upload it to your PBX as well. Okay, so as I have said, the prompts are mostly mostly used under certain under special occasions which do not require any levels of customization, and most of the system prompt will be heard by the system users. So this so as I have said, we support multi-language system prompt, which I will be explaining a little bit later. Okay, so now we have done changing the IP address. We have done changing the system date and time. We have choose the system prompt of our own languages. And now we have finished the preparation work. And now we can just start to set up our PBX system. Okay. Now let's click settings, and here we have extensions. Now we will start to create extensions. Okay, now we click add. Here you will see that all the parameters is generated automatically by the system. If you don't want to, you don't have to put in anything. You can just keep all the settings here, and it's okay. But if you want to, you can actually change all the features right here. I think I will be there's one very important thing here is in the PBX you find in general. Here we have extension preferences, so there is a range of all kinds of extensions in the PBX. So the extension number have to fall into the range set right here. You will need to know that. Well, of course you can change this range. You just need to make sure that the range do not overlaps with each other between different kinds of extensions. Okay. Okay, so now let's get back to add extensions. Now I add an extension. Of course, we can change the extension number if we like. We can change the caller ID. This caller ID is especially for internal phone calls between extensions. So if one extension call on another, this IP address will show the identification of the caller. And of course, here we have registration name and a registration password. This is the registration name is for the other equipments to register to the PBX as this extension. So this registration name is used basically for IP phones or for soft phones if you like it to be registered to PBX to this very extension. So you need to remember this registration name and this registration password. As you see, this registration name, this registration password is a default one. Of course, you can change this password as well, and so is the registration name. So everything here can be changed, and of course, here we have a concurrent registration. I have to explain this because, as you see here, when I add an extension to the system, it required me to choose a type of this extension. So we have SIP extension, IAX extension, and FXS extension. We have three kinds of extension. But as you already see here, I can enable actually both. So this means our one extension number you can actually register multiple equipments to this one extension number. With SIP extension, you can actually register 5 equipments. And you can add another IAX extension, which is just another protocol for SIP, for IP phones, for SIP communication. And then you can also have an FXS, that is an analog equipment, registered to this extension as well. So if you choose FXS, you will see a list of all the analog ports you have in this equipment. The available one will be shown in black, and the unavailable one will be shown in red. As you see, all the FXS ports here is occupied, so you cannot use one. Okay, so as I have said, you can register multiple equipments to one extension number. For example, you can register the IP phones in your office. You can register the IP phone in your house. You can register your smartphone with an soft phone app to all those equipments to your PBX as the same extension number. So when a call comes to this extension number, all the equipments will have equal access to this call. They can all pick up and answer this phone. So this will assure that even though you are not in the office, you can too get access to the phone call made to your extension. Okay, then here we have user information. Here we have the username. Well, you can change this username and this user password as well. So this username and the user password are for the users to log into the Web GUI. So, well, if you tried, you know that an ordinary extension user also have their own Web GUI. They can get in to check voicemails and to check their own configurations and stuff, blacklist and whitelist, things like that. But when they log into the Web GUI, they won't have as much authority to all the configurations of this PBX as the administrator. So here we have special login username and the password for this very extension. If you like, you can change that as well. And here we can assign an email to this extension. So when the PBX has anything to notify this very extension user, for example, if you have enabled voicemail to email, then every time this extension user got a voicemail in the PBX, the system will send an email including this voicemail to this extension user, and the mailbox you set right here will be the mailbox with which this user used to receive those kinds of mails. And of course, you can assign a mobile number to it. This mobile number is used with the same purpose as the email box. And of course, here we have prompt languages. So here is the multiple prompts that we have mentioned. So for example, if this user speaks Spanish, we can set Spanish prompts especially for this user. So all the prompts that this user here will be in Spanish. And as for the prompts that customers or the callers from outside will hear, most of those prompts are customized prompts. So it doesn't matter. So you don't have to choose languages. You can just record anything you like and play it for them. So that won't be an issue. Okay, now we will be talking about some features. Of course, here we have voicemail. You can enable or disable voicemail for this very extension. You can enable send voicemail to email. So once you enable this feature, every time this extension has a voicemail, the system will send, as I have said, the email to the mailbox that they have just assigned. And of course, if you like, you can set up a ping for this, especially for the mailbox. So only by typing the right ping can this user check their voicemail. And of course, we have call forwarding. Well, this is very important features, yet basic. So we can set call forwarding, especially for this extension. We can set always, and we can choose the destination to forward their calls. For example, when this user is not physically in the company, for example, they go on a business trip for a couple of weeks, they are not in the office, you can forward their call to other extensions. For example, you can forward their call to his assistant, to his assistant as I have shown here. And of course, we can direct this call directly to the mobile number, So this way, when they are not in the office, someone call their extension, the PBX will directly forward this call to the mobile number, to the mobile phone of this user. And of course, we can set another number to receive it, and of course we can set voicemail as well, right? And we can set so the call forwarding only will be triggered during certain situation, like no answer or when busy. Okay, this is very easy to understand. And here we have mobile extension. If you like, you can actually enable mobile extension. That means that the system will, when a call, if you have enabled this mobile extension, that means when someone call up to this extension, then they will have the mobile number that you set right here will have equal access to the PBX, to the desktop phone register directly to the PBX. Okay, and here we can check ring simultaneously. So when a call comes in, both equipments will just ring. We will explain actually a little bit more about this mobility extension. We were talking about our Linkus app in our follow-up courses. So, and here we have monitor settings. This is actually very interesting. So in monitor mode, this extension can monitor phone calls of other extension, or they can be monitored by other extension. So here we have in monitor settings, we have two modes. We have two operations. We have two configurations. First one is allow being monitored. Very easy to understand. If this extension, if you check it right here, this means that this extension can be monitored by other extensions. If you do not check this, then nobody can monitor this very extension. And here we have monitor mode. Here with this configuration, it defines how this extension can monitor other extension. So here in monitor mode, we have disabled. So if disabled, this monitor cannot monitor other extension. This extension cannot monitor other extension. And here we have extensive, listen, whisper, and barge in. So actually there are three modes: listen, whisper, and barge in. The extensive only means that all three is available for this extension. So here the first one is listen mode. So in listen mode, that means this extension can hear the conversation, can hear the phone calls, but he cannot speak. Nobody can hear him. But in whisper mode, this extension can not only hear, but speak to the extension that is being monitored. But the other side, no matter it's another extension or a outside caller, cannot hear your conversation, cannot hear the conversation happened between this extension and the extension that is being monitored. And here we have barging mode. Barging mode is kind of like three-way calling. So everybody in the conversation can hear that. Okay, and I have said if you choose extensive, that means three ways are all available for this extension. So this is actually a very interesting feature. It can be very useful in many cases, like the one you like with public services, like in call centers, like in like in attorneys firm, right? Those features can be very, very useful, and I have to explain it here. For example, I have an internal phone calls between two extensions. One is being monitored, the other cannot be monitored. So the supervisor extension, if they want to initiate and monitor, well, they can. They can hear the conversation. They can hear the whole conversation, but they can only dial the number to, dial the features code to, monitor the extension that is allowed to be monitored. If they dial number to the other extension, they cannot be monitored. Okay. Okay. Let me just explain to you how the monitor thing is, how the monitor thing can be triggered. Okay. Here we have features code, right? So we have features code for monitor. You see it right here, right? So if you want to initiate a listen mode as a supervisor, you put in asterisk 91 follow up by the extension number that you want to monitor. So this way you will trigger the listen mode and listen to their conversation. And then we have asterisk 91, right? If you dial asterisk 91, follow the extension number of the extension that you want to monitor, then you will initiate a whisper mode. So you can speak to this extension, but the other side won't be, the other part won't hear anything. Won't hear anything. Okay, this is the way it works. As I have explained, if two extensions are having a conversation, one can be monitored, the other cannot. You have to make sure that the number you dialed, the extension part, number part you dialed, is of the extension that can be monitored. Otherwise, you cannot initiate the monitor. Okay, now let's get back to the features of our extension. Okay, oh sorry, one more thing. Here in the user information, by default it is the same as the number of this very extension. But as the administrator, you possibly will have like 200 to 300 users easily in extensions easily in this PBX, and it is impossible for you to remember who has everybody's extension number. So when you are managing the extensions, it will be very helpful if you have the name configured to the name of the users, right? But instead of the extension number. So as you see here, if we change the name, then in name part, it will show the name that you have set it, which is possibly the name of this very extension, the name of the user of this very extension. So it will be a lot easier to change that, to do this. Okay, and then we have in advanced features, we have other settings, which I will be talking about a little bit later. Okay. We've seen how we can add extensions, but as I have said, you can easily have 200 to 300 users in this very PBX. So it will be very troublesome if you have to set up extensions one by one. So here you can click Add Bulk. Then you can add a bunch of extensions by one click. So if you initiate Add Bulk, then you set up a start extension. You set up how many extensions you want to create this one time, right? You set up the registration password rules. Either it's a random one, or either it's a fixed password, or a password that you set by according to certain kind of rules. And of course, the user password, you will have the same configurations, the concurrent registrations, the system prompt. So all the features, all the configurations will be the same, and you click Save. Then you will have the batch of extension numbers created, because now we have already maxed out with the extensions, so we cannot create any more. But if you like, you will know this is the way to do it, add bulk extension. And we have also offered you more simple way to do this. So here you see import and export, right? So this is a template. This is a CSV file, a template of the for configuration of extensions. So you can actually have one of these forms. You can actually have one of these forms and have all the configuration set it right here. And you can just use the same template and only change the changeable values, like the username, like the extension numbers, like the caller IDs, the registration password. All those status are changeable. You can just change it in this CSV file. You save it, and you can simply import this file directly to the PBX. So this way, you can use one template for, as an installer, you can use one template for all your users. Just change the variables, and that'll be it. It is actually easier than add bulk. So we have 3 ways to add extensions: add one by one, add bulk, or just directly import the CSV template. And of course, for every changes we have made, we have to click this little orange apply icon, so the changes we have made will take effect. Okay, and this is pretty much all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for your participation. If there's anything you'd like to know, you can ask me right here, right now. And if you have any follow-up questions in the future, you can always contact academy@yeastar.com. You can always contact us through this through this mailbox. It goes right to our training team, and we will give you answer guidance to whatever topic you need. Okay, thank you so much for your participation. If there is anything you'd like to know, you can ask me right here. I will give you an answer right away. Okay, thank you.